man, they are really messing with our weather up here where I'm at, or the chemicals and stuff. I went and took Stella for a long walk again last night, or yesterday morning. And oh man, it's trippy when I go back in there in the woods. It is, I'm telling you, it is like you go into this other world, and it's so overgrown right now. It is so, and there's things moving around back there. Ugh, it's trippy. Um, it's a little scary, kind of, especially, if you have that respect for the woods of knowing, there's other beings out there that can blend in really well. So anyways, uh, walking on, oh yeah, because going out there, I'll smell, before we got to the woods, like once we start walking, I can just tell, like I'll smell chemicals outside, and my throat will start burning, and I'll come in, I'll be exhausted. I will, yesterday I laid down again and fell asleep. When I woke up, I don't know how long I'd been asleep. It was like 2:30, and I was so out of it. I couldn't ever wake up the rest of the day. I was real out of it. I don't know how to explain it. But all these times I'm feeling real drugged and stuff. And then whatever they're doing with ours, they had to move in this cold front. They've done this 2 times now over the past couple weeks, where this fucking frigid air blows in. It goes so motherfucking windy, and it was frigid. Like I walked out to go take something to the compost in my garden, and I had this stuff on. I had the sweater, a tank top, these warm ass pants. I love these pants. These men, I like to go to the men's department. Well, I'm at the thrift store, and get the pajama pants because my legs are long, and I don't know, girl ones don't ever fit me right. But I love these men ones, and these are like, I don't know, velvety or something. They're super warm. And so they're great for winter. You'd think I'd be boiling hot in them, and I'm still chilled. And then I saw that in California, Arizona, Nevada, and whatnot, they're having a heat wave. So see, they've got to blow in the cold front, so that it meets a heat wave. So they create some really bad storms. So I don't know where it's going to end up hitting. It could be here or whatever. I don't know. What I have been seeing, so tons and tons of footage with military everywhere. And like I said, I don't know if I said it on here, I'm just getting so like as everything is picking up, it's like I have no idea what I'm talking about on here. I have no idea. Like, it's just, I'm just staying in this. I don't know. It's, I can really see if this is all new to you, all this spiritual stuff and stuff, how you could feel like you're probably going crazy. And it is a lot to try and keep a grip on your own reality. Remember, it's your reality. It's just you holding on to it. Don't compare it or anything. Just stay focused on your reality. Don't use the diagnoses and all the content that you were told in your programming. Any of that stuff makes you crazy, because that is where you'll start losing your grip. Like I saw a footage of there's a whole city where there's somebody talking in these people's heads, and they know it's the same because they're reading a story, and all the people can hear it. And so that's that to me is CIA shit. They've got it right in their files. That's what they do. And so, what was I going to say about that? But they're hitting all the different places in all different ways. And so from what I understand, so when I see the military, it gives me a sense of peace. It doesn't make me feel nervous at all. And to me, it is they're there to protect us, because there's attack coming our way. And so it's like they've all gone out to guard around us, like they're standing around. And there's certain cities that are going to be under more attack. Apparently, there's a certain group of cities globally that the cabal or whatever has under they're like have them under kidnapping or something. I don't know. They've got control, and I don't know, what it all is about. I've heard this from more than one person, and so it's something with they're holding a whole town under. What I'm seeing is like, when there's a DV and the dad is holding the family inside. So these groups have these towns, and it has something to do with internet and electricity and all that stuff with the grid and stuff. So what they're saying is that they're going to cyber attack some of these cities. So they're going to knock out all the power. Everything is going to go down in some of these cities, and that's going to bring panic. So the military is around, to control the panic and stuff. And I heard that there could be a light martial law, which remember, that is going to be to protect you. It's going to send people into a full-blown panic, because I see these people out there saying, and it is so annoying to me. Some of these are big content creators, and all they do is like, no, don't believe any of this bullshit. These Age of Aquarius people saying that we're going to, there's going to be a positive thing. I don't even know the shit. I can't even tell you how many people I have seen. These Age of Aquarius people. It's like, fuck. It's so annoying too, is because when we started spiritual breaking free from religion, the group of us, and which, I don't know the people. I mean, there was definitely a group of people who began splitting free from religion all the way back in the 70s and 80s. And I was with that group. It wasn't just me individually. It was a whole group. It was in movies and shit. They'd make fun of us, and they'd call us names and all sorts of stuff, because they had to, turn the general populace against, the outsiders, the ones that are, going off script. So, they do it every time. They get people to gang up on you. They make fun of you in movies, and they get people to make fun of you in person. And so, but, it wasn't just me. It was like a whole energy that, I think is part of the awakening or something, because it's been going on for a long time. And so, but back then we were called New Agers, and spiritual and stuff. And it was a very awkward time. Like, people just don't know, because it's very different. But it was like, you were anti-God when you broke away from religion. And everybody would tell you, you don't, you don't know God. You're not worshiping God. You're worshiping devils and all this stuff. So, and now how it's just been, they've just turned it into some candy store fucking label. And then all these people who just awoken, 2 weeks ago, who were fucking, atheist, their whole life, suddenly that they all of a sudden realize, like, wait a minute, there is something here. And then they are the fucking experts out there fucking telling everybody. Or you got these religious fanatics who are so scared of everything. But anyways, all this stuff is, the people who follow them are all going to have to see for themselves. It's just very frustrating, because I feel like these people, out of their own fear and ignorance, are misleading so many people. But I've talked about that. That is, they're putting this karma out of, they're creating their own karmic balance shift. You affect, like, anyone that I am talking to, how I affect you, that comes back on me energetically. Like, I don't take this lightly, that I'm out here talking about this shit. I'm very, very aware that I can change and direct how people view. And that's why I try and really, really get people to understand. You don't just blindly follow what somebody says. You have to go internally. You're internal. Like, I could listen to a lot of different people talk, and not all of them are going to align with me. I'm going to go with what my gut is telling me, what my inside dialogue is telling me. And And like I said, when you start really paying attention, you'll find out there's a Starship Enterprise shit going on up in here. You have a lot going on. And so it needs management. It needs to be acknowledged. And so it's, if you've got all this going on and you're not even aware of it, yeah, you'd feel anxious and stressed and shit. But, I'm very aware that what I say, how I direct people or whatever, that comes back on me energetically as a karmic balance. Like, I've talked about this, so much before, so I won't go deep into it, but this is what I'm talking about. So, it's makes me feel bad, but that's where I got to go, okay, these are these souls. This is their stuff. All these souls have their own stuff to work out with their souls that they came in with. Even people who don't think they know people, you know them. If somebody comes across your thing, you know them. So, anyways, the people, that's why, like, people can go in and listen to me and they'll be like, I feel like I know this person. Like, I just need to talk to him. I just know him. That is the soul recognition. It is like, oh, okay, yeah, we've been around each other before, and so when you come across somebody, it is because you know them in other lives, in other places, and outside of this reality, outside of this existence. And that is part of your soul reminding you, helping you remember, helping you start recognizing the people that you know, and that you may not recognize them or know them through roles or whatever, but your soul, like your eyes, your soul connects through the eyes. Like, you can look at them and it's like your eyes meet and you'll just know. It's like a peaceful feeling inside of you, or it could give you a lot of anxiety. Maybe it was a toxic thing that happened in the time that you have known them or something. And those are all things to pay attention to. So if you do get a weird feeling, go in and ask your guides, what's this all about, and you'll show you things. And when they show you, like, they could just show you riding on horseback with another person behind you, and you are going up and you know that there is a noose up there. You know what's about to happen. Like, you can see one little tiny second, an instant, a picture, a snapshot, but your soul knows the whole story. So your soul will know. And that's where I'm saying you can start feeling like you're going mentally ill because you've been taught that that's mental illness, but it's not mental illness. That is, they're the great deceivers of all things. So that is, that's, to keep you limited in your spirit. And that's, their main thing is to keep you limited in your spirit. And, this was a cool story. I've talked about redemption and stuff before, so I wanted to share this story because I thought it was really cool. This guy is a DoorDash guy, and he went to the KFC to pick up some food. They didn't have soda, so he called the person and he said, hey, they don't have any soda. What do you want me to do? And she said, well, it's okay. I'm in Colorado. You're getting this from my mom. She's got cancer, so she just needs to eat some food. So just take that food. It'll be fine. So the guy, he was very affected because his mom also died of cancer, but he was incarcerated when she died, and his hands were held. He couldn't get out. He couldn't be with her when she passed. So he has carried guilt and shame and like all the things, like who knows what all is really, and I'm sure he's gonna have a lot of stuff coming up from this incident. So he called her back and he said, you know what? I'm going to go to the store and I'm just going to buy her some soda. What kind does she like? I'm just going to get I'll buy it myself. And the woman's like, no, don't worry about it. And he's like, look, this happened with my mom, and I was incarcerated and I couldn't get to her. And this is helping me. And she said, well, what's your name? That's going to make me start crying. I was bawling. As always, when I hit one and I just start bawling, I'm like, okay, I just got to go do this. So she said, what's your name? And he said, Danny. And so she started bawling. And she said that her brother, his name is Danny, and he's incarcerated. So the guy, he could recognize his role, and he could feel the brotherhood with this other Danny, and he could see the opportunity for his own redemption, the own clearing of his own soul, his own consciousness, to be able to help someone else when he couldn't help. He wasn't in a position to do this other thing. But see, the universe gives you opportunities to go back around. And so you get an opportunity. And then what I'm saying too is, though, when he goes and does that, so this is the trigger. It's already struck. And he's already started moving. And depending all on his own healing, I don't know his healing and stuff like that. I'm just saying, when something happens like that, and you can feel like really good, you can feel really high. But remember that it can be backed up with some like epiphanies, some realizations. And so the realizations aren't there to punish you or to bring you back down. It is like, okay, we got your attention, so now heal this shit. This is the stuff that's coming up. And all the things about healing is getting to the point of forgiving yourself and forgiving the others that you feel have wronged you, and seeing that each person who's ever done wrong has only done it out of their own ignorance. There is some people who do things purposely to hurt others, but that is, I don't know if those people are just put into the positions to go around causing trouble in this reality, or if it is, a part of their soul's endeavor to come clean or whatever. One thing too is supposedly what's going to happen is the souls that couldn't, that are just stuck in the dark, they're going to go back into some sort of recycle thing or something. I keep hearing about this thing, and I've heard not just people talking on this. I've heard of this in more of prophecy kind of stuff. So I don't know, but they just take that energy and just put it in and kind of try and remix it to try and get the dark out of it. And I don't know if you stay in your state of consciousness. Like, I don't know if that is like, because when we all come together, we're not individuals. We come together and we're just energy. And so Donna was saying, and I'm going to try my best to explain this. And this is something that I think you have, it's a development. It's like, as you awaken and try and understand more about what this place is, who you are, what this is, like all that stuff, that is kind of like, it is an expansion of your understanding, is how it is kind of happened for me. Because all the way back, when I was spiritual and stuff like that, I thought we were flesh and blood. I was, I still thought we were on a globe out spinning in space. I thought we could travel out in space. So, all those things all go together in your expansion of understanding of the manipulation and all that stuff of this place. So, so from what I understand, so when I was in at nursing school, so when I had to take chemistry was like, I liked A&P. A&P I thought was so interesting. Microbiology was pretty hard. Biology was pretty hard. Both of those were kind of hard, but it was still, I liked them. A&P I really, really liked a lot. But chemistry was like, fuck. I was being tutored by my teacher. My teacher would let me come up to his place where he worked at lunch, and he would tutor me. I was like, I cannot wrap my hand around this shit. It is so weird. It doesn't make any sense. And so everything is minerals and what is that called? The table. Sometimes, like, I try and rush, like I'm trying to hand them. Man, I can't make out that word. The table, but it's in like labs and stuff, and it has all of the chemical compounds, and so you have like hydrogen, so that's just an H. So then you have like aluminum, that's Al. You have boron, BO. So you have all of this. So they just have the chemical compound names are just a couple of letters, just 2 letters or 1 letter. And so that whole table is all these different things. And so all of those different things, boron and hydrogen, oxygen, aluminum, iron, all of these things are made up of atoms. And let's see, there's atoms, and then there's another thing too. Oh, I can't remember. This is stuff, see, you can go and look it up and see, you might understand it way better than me. And, I can like I've said, I can understand things. I can see things that I don't necessarily know how to explain them, but I can still understand it. So, like hydrogen, like they tell you, okay, so hydrogen is one of, what is the thing? Atoms and something. So like if this is nucleus and cells and all this shit. So it has this, one atom of this, and then it have, like if you do hydrogen, H2O. So you would have 2 hydrogen atoms, and then you would have, or 2 oxygen, whatever, I don't even know. But then you'd have these other atoms. And so, but you can't see any of it. And so they would keep saying, but that's what's there. And I would keep being like, but how do you know? How do you know that's what's there? You're just guessing that's what there is there. And so they go through all this stuff explaining it and how they have done, scientists spend all this time proving that there is like this exact thing. There's this one, and then it has 2 of these attached, and that's the whole thing. Even I think with that Dovec model, where it shows the thing and then all the things coming out and stuff like that is because there's a whole thing about that. That stuff you can look up with Judy Mikovits. I thought she, when I saw her explain that stuff in 2020 about viruses and shit like that. And anyways, you have to go watch her. Don't listen to what the media tries to say, she's a whack and stuff. If you go in and you listen to her history, she's one of those scientists that stood up to him and tried to tell the truth, so that she was attacked, jailed, all sorts of stuff. And she worked with the fraud. And that was another thing that I saw in 2020, because she was exposing his criminal shit. And that is where, I found out he was the one who did AIDS and stuff. So that's when I found out this guy's been affecting my whole motherfucking life, this son of a bitch. And so so with a hydrogen and oxygen, all those things, so you have atoms. Everything is these atoms, and it has to do with frequency. And so when we go higher in frequency, if you can look up about like the water studies and stuff with frequency, and that might help you to understand how frequency works and how it affects. But so if you go high and low in frequency, it's going to make everything move. Just like what I was saying yesterday, I think, when it seemed like that they cranked up the frequency or something, and it was exciting, whatever these things are that they are inside of me. Like, I don't know what they are, because I can feel them crawling around my eye, coming up like there's something going on inside my ears. It's freaking me out because that damn spider thing. And I keep telling myself, it's got to just be changing pressure. They're doing something, and it keeps changing the pressure. And so it feels like things are, but I think it is frequency, because it makes things excited. And I even, when I had gotten my new bed, and I was like, it's just something when I just started really when you start realizing the artificial and the natural, and all the artificial products and petroleum and plastics and shit like that. And then what happens, they put it in our food, they put it in our clothes, and then they turn up the frequency and it gets it excited. And so, like laying on your bed, then it can feel like all those little things are like pricking you and make you itchy and uncomfortable. And so anyways, that is like with frequency. So frequency, it can make something more dense, or it can make it more open and wide. And so, and that is based on all of us have our own frequency, because, try and get it out of your mind about the being, the person, the visual. That is like the same thing as like in a video game where you create the avatar. So this being right here is the avatar that is created. And in the realm, you're birthed into it. And then you have this ability to expand and to grow and to adapt. And so, but it is this, it's like a spacesuit. It's like an avatar. And it is like you, the soul. So like in that movie I was talking about, that old sci-fi horror movie where it was the brain of Czar or something, and the brain was going around, and they were just using it as a brain, as a visual. They could have made it just smoke, they could have made it whatever, but it's our essence. And then in this case, they used a brain because our essence is intelligent. And I know that because I've come out of my body before, and I was exactly the same. I had no idea I was out of my body until I saw my body. You do not feel one bit different. You don't feel like you're missing anything. You don't feel like you're lacking anything. Nothing. You think the same. You don't need your brain. You think the same. Everything is exactly the same. And your body is insignificant. So it's your essence is what's real. And your essence is your energy. It is your soul. It is the part of you that is real. And so and this is like, I can't just say something on just one level. Like this girl. Okay, I said yesterday on that girl whose husband was riding the bike, and the helmet situation. Now he's in a coma or whatever. And so I said, it doesn't matter about the helmet if you're wearing it or not wearing it. The same thing was going to happen no matter what. And so, now I got this helicopter nurse or paramedic or whatever coming in and telling me, no, we know a helmet makes a big difference, all that shit. It's like, I was just like, okay, well, you're a very three-dimensional thinker, and I'm a spiritual thinker. And as far as I'm concerned, everything happens with the purpose. You can't stop what is inevitable, what is destiny. And bad things happen to have good results. So bad things happen. Like when I got a brain injury, I thought it was the worst thing in the whole wide world. Now I look at it as the best thing. It was the best thing in the whole wide world. So you see things differently. But everything is destined. It's like I said the other day, the guy who was standing on the side of the highway and his car's, just crumbled up. And he's standing out there praising Jesus because it was a miracle. Because it's all miracles. Nothing can happen to you unless it's meant to happen. And we run around fearing like we have control over. Oh, if I just put this on, I won't get sick. That has nothing to do with it. If I just do this, I won't die. If I just do this, no, you don't have control over it. No control whatsoever. That is where you got to learn what you can control, what you can't control. And then what you can't control, that is where you have to learn how to control your mind, your emotions, like to not let yourself just panic and go into fear. And that goes straight into the worst things are going to happen. And that is not trusting the universe to have your back, that you think that you yourself is going to put yourself there to just be, devoured or something. And I kind of, where there's so many of these babies and stuff being born. Like, there's so much bug. I just, man, I don't know. Like, you know, I don't know why there's, you know, so many kids being born just to come in and play that role, other than to try and get us to see what's happening, as to kind of, if there was only a few of them, then, you know, they can keep doing it without us noticing. When there's so many, then we have to notice. So I would only can think of that a lot of these souls are playing martyr roles. And then when they go in to play those roles, they know it's going to be short-lived. You're going to only have a few years. You're going to see life from a very different side to, you know, be tortured and kidnapped and all that stuff going on, you know. So, but when you're in your soul existence, you know that this isn't real. You know that this isn't real. So you don't stress about it. And but the thing that's trippy is because when you go into the experience, that is makes it seem so real. But that is why you have to be birthed into it. It's like you're birthed into it to attach you. Through the birth canal, you become attached to the reality so that you can feel and experience what you are here to understand and experience. And so the being is, it is just the suit. It is like how they show me so much with video games. And you know, and I never was a gamer, but I've understood. But the avatar thing, and when I was at my my one daughter's like, all these guys are all gamers. All these guys, so many guys are gamers, and so you know, you're sitting there talking, they start doing their thing and making their avatars and stuff. And so they're sitting on the couch and they're creating an avatar. So they're birthing an avatar to experience the game in. So they're sitting there on the couch, like your soul is sitting somewhere else. It's outside of the game. And in the game, in the lit up part, so it's like a light comes on to make a stage, and then the souls are birthed in to perform kind of like for the whole universe, but it's not just nonsensical performances. It is like learning and expanding and experiencing. And some souls, watchers and observers and stuff that want to watch, they're trying to learn off of our experience. But anyone who is an experiencer understands the experience is what it is that actually changes you. So just listening or watching can't necessarily, you don't learn the same lessons, but in observation. So when you are watching your friend go through something, you still can learn from it. You can have empathy, but it won't impact you in the same way. So even though the observers and the watchers watch us, it isn't, they're trying to learn from the things that we learn, but they don't, aren't as impacted. So that's why I say, like, they don't have the same understanding. Like when they're in communication with you, they're a little bit more like cold or something. Like they don't have the same understanding of what things, like how hard this stuff is. Because you are fighting like your space suit when you're birthed into this suit that is so you can experience. And God, keep in mind, it's the same thing in a video game. But in the video game, so the person can control the avatar and can make them do things, but they can't really feel the avatar's experience. In this is why I say ours is so advanced. It's like really, really so magical that we can do this, that we can be birthed into it, and then we can feel it, and we can send communication back to our higher self, and we can communicate with other beings around us that are trying to learn or help or guide or whatever. And like I've said, You can look around your house and think like, oh, I've got so much space. It's because you're not seeing what's really there. You're seeing what you believe is there. So you think it's what you think it is, but that's not what it is. That's an illusion. And so, and you have beings and stuff around you all the time. And so, but so your soul is what you really are, and that can't die. That's energy. You even when they talk about putting it into a thing to like mix it back up. I don't think it's not like a punishment or something. I don't I don't know on some of that stuff. Like I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in punishment, and a cell or a soul is a lot more, like it doesn't need a book to tell it the rules. It knows the rules, and it knows stuff. The challenges are coming into the game and remembering the rules when you've got so much distraction, and being able to remember who you are. But see, in this game where we're at, they've created this whole concept with death, and it has to do with their game because they want it to be a heavy, what is that? A heavy turnover. They want it to be a heavy turnover. They want it to be, they wanted it to be shortened so that we, die young and come back. And so, and that is where a lot of people feel like, that they're imprisoned and trapped in reincarnation prison and stuff like that. And, but your soul, your energy, you don't have to do what you don't want to do. You are doing it. And it isn't like what we think it is, because it isn't like you're going to a place. You are still where you are. You are just projecting yourself. So you're projecting your energy, and in this game, it's birthed into the game through another being. And then you come in and you have to, learn how to use it, and then it grows, it expands, and then you get to learn how to use all of these function things so that you can be more, all the things are adapted to one's own physical reality realm. So, things that you need, like you need 5 fingers because you need to grab like every place isn't the same. And so some places, there's a big thing, something about some beings have 4 fingers and some have 5. And it's something about, like we need to grip things. But people who don't, then they don't have it. So everything is your avatar, your spacesuit, whatever, is adapted to the thing. Because as the energy, you can't go in and just have an experience. That's why you have nothing to fear about ghosts and shit. They're more in their energetic form. They're more in a stuck in a state of consciousness of, like passing, but still holding on. And then plus there's also like energetic imprints that will continue to happen, and of traumatic situations. And so you have, I think like you could go out in certain places, probably some places in the forest where there's been battles and wars and stuff. And those people are just still out there walking around, and it's not like they've been out there walking around for thousands and thousands of years. They're just, their time that they were still attached to it, but I don't know, maybe their body blew up or something, but back in those times, you wouldn't have thought like, I'm going to go back and get in my body. Like it's been a development in our understanding. Like all those things had to lead up to this thing, but all of the different lives don't lead up to the same thing for each person. That is why, like, when they say ascension and stuff, not everybody is here for that part. It's like a graduation. because you have learned from your different lives. But but if you're disconnected from who you are in your different lives, you're not getting the benefit. But that is why they keep you so distracted, because they don't want you to benefit. They want to keep you as on a hamster wheel. But see, we come in to do it because we know we're strong, we're powerful, and we know we can conquer the game. We know that we can master it, we can learn from it and stuff like that. So we come in and experience all these different lives. And the thing is too, for a soul, like everybody's stuck on these rich and famous lives. Oh, I just want to be rich and famous. I just want to be, but if you go and listen to those women that I was talking about with their sons who had passed, and they started interviewing different people up there who were famous, who were passed, because you can still tell what somebody looks like. You would, if you knew Marilyn Monroe as Marilyn Monroe, then when you're sitting with that soul, you see Marilyn Monroe. If you knew her as all these different things, like she could be morphing into all these different beings because you were in all those different lives with her. So you know her as this other person. You don't have to just know her as Marilyn Monroe. You know her as all these things. So when these guys had passed, then they started talking to these different people. And it was really cool. I liked those because they would do these interviews and it was so interesting. But these people who were rich and famous, they would talk about lives when they weren't. And those were the ones that were, that they longed for. The rich and famous life is people think like it's, peaceful or something. I think there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of you've got way more people to please now. Like you think about all you have is just your circle to please. But then you go and you step onto the stage where you've got all these people looking at you. And that's a lot of stress, especially for people who aren't healed. But all these people keep thinking, well, then I'll have everybody will like me. So then I can like myself. But the problem is you get up there and you get so many people who don't like you. So the part of you that's broken just gets more beat down. And that's why I said it's not about being rich and famous. It's about the lessons that you learn from the experience. Everybody wants to take the experiences that's a real cool experience. I'd like that one. That's the one I want. That's not how it works. It's already designed. You've already come in for your experience. That is your distraction. That is you looking at something else, thinking somebody's got it better than me. I'm, all those things. They're each individual soul. Each individual soul is trying to learn. Itself is what it matters. Not what other people think of you, not what you need to do to please other people, all that stuff. Those are all things that we create so that we feel like we can be accepted. But then you got to ask yourself, why am I doing these things? Why do I feel like I need others to accept me? Because the main thing is you just got to learn to accept yourself. And everybody's so accustomed to, if this other person accepts me, I can accept myself. But that is a backward way of doing it. And that's why you have so many people in toxic relationships and frustrating relationships and mad, oh, well, I thought you liked me and shit. So it's just a lot of toxic shit. People have to see that that's not the answer. You're not going to all of a sudden be happy because you're rich and famous. You'll probably end up being more miserable. If you're miserable in your life now, you'll probably just be more miserable. And you'll feel more judged. You'll feel like everybody hates you. You'll feel like... But, man, it's like the main goal for so many people who are into the superficial. They just want to be rich and famous. It's like the main goal in life. That's it. And... that's everybody's own opportunity to see the tail they're chasing, And, but so the way that we are here, so the frequency raising, so in this earth plane, the frequency is low. And that is why we can feel like we're physical. That's why the atoms can all go together. Because it's a low vibration. And so everything can come together and we can have this where the colors and atoms are vibrating low enough that they can come together to create matter. And matter is just the atoms. Like if you start raising it and raising it, raising it, it's just going to go back out into its atoms. It's not going to start splitting off and being blood and guts and stuff like that. It's just going to be atoms. And then, so if you take the matter down here where we are, like right now, where we're in this low vibration, and they're vibrating to create matter so that we can experience. And then as it is raising and the vibration becomes more and more, see, we start coming apart. But we don't really come apart because this is just the vehicle. We are inside. We're the energy. And so this being, and I swear to God, I keep feeling this. This is why I keep talking about, like, it feels so weird. Like I feel like I'm coming apart or something. And so it's weird, especially like I'm doing all this stuff by myself, you know, and I've seen there's other people who have been doing this stuff by themselves and they're getting really beat down. They're getting to where it is like they just want to kill themselves and give up. And I'll tell you another thing too, that motherfucking maid, I'm so sick of, God, I'm really sick of fucking Canada, these motherfuckers. And this one was, this is fucking heartbreaking, man. This one is a mom who became paraplegic, probably in an accident or something a couple of years ago. She's got little kids and stuff. She goes to her government, you know, because it's socialized medicine. She needs, you know, some things in her house. She needs some stuff to, you know, make her life doable. And I said, well, you know, sorry, we just don't have money for that. But, you know, we are giving you access to the maid. I'll tell you another thing too, and I've talked about this so much, about them capturing our consciousness, and I know that's what that maid thing is for. It's just, you know, bullshit. That machine is not there to just fucking, no fucking way. That's not just a machine to get, no, you're trying to get something. And so, what was this? Because, is something... Is it scientists or somebody coming out with this shit? I don't know. I mean, this is something they showed to me. I've been talking about for a while. So this stuff is going to start coming out because now I'm hearing it more. And about them having consciousness. They've been capturing consciousness and then putting it in black boxes and stuff and keeping it. And so they have got consciousness, and where there's some people saying that there's AI like Alexa and stuff, that they are capturing consciousness of people who die, and then they put them in there, and then they make them like, I don't know, you know, what all they're doing. Like, oh, and it's in that show on Netflix called Black Mirror. So they've got that stuff in Black Mirror. That's what that guy was talking about, this episode of Black Mirror, where they were showing that they are taking the consciousness of people and putting them in these things. I've been saying, I know that that's what they're doing. I mean, that's their thing of trying to control consciousness, our soul. That's what they're after. And so, but, you know, people don't... But so that woman, yeah, she chose the maid. She's going for the maid. She's like, she can't live the way she's living. Her kids will be better off. It's sick, man. It's so motherfucking sick, especially when you know, like, how close we are to the med beds. Fuck, man. That woman could go in there, just stand up, go start living her life again. These motherfuckers are so fucking... It so fucking makes me so angry. But all of this stuff, we just got to keep seeing. It's all to teach us. It's all to impact us. We got to be impacted so severely, because this new world we're creating is going to not be anything like this old one. This old one is fucking bullshit, horrible. But that is the low vibration. And in the space of low vibration, it isn't just the frequency. It gives opportunity. So the matter that is created by the vibration. So it's all an illusion. That's why I say it's an illusion. Because the vibration changes, everything goes out and it spreads apart. So as the vibration is changing on the planet, that's why I'm saying I think from, like I'm just trying to put together stuff that what I'm seeing and stuff. And so to me, it is kind of, we're going into our energetic form, but our energetic form will still represent you. And that is where like these people are like, you're going into your crystalline body and stuff like that. But that doesn't, your body's not changing like that because your body's not real. That is still them living in that three-dimensional concept of their body being real and their body's changing. Your body's not changing because it's not real. You don't really exist. You exist outside of this reality, and you transmit your consciousness into the avatar, so that so you as the being can experience what it feels like to be touched, what does something smell like, what does it feel like. But that is all created. None of that exists. We're just trying to understand and trying to expand as souls. So we go through these things, but really, it's kind of like, that is where, to me, go listen on Gaia channel to Matthias DeStefano. I think he does really, really good at explaining, how why souls started to experience themselves, why they started trying to understand themselves. And stuff he was saying is totally in alignment with how I see things. Like there's certain people you'll hear and you'll just be like, yeah, that's it, exactly. And he's definitely one. But you may not be on that level. It can be like where something is way over your head, and then you're sitting there going, okay, this is some bullshit. This is fake. I don't understand this shit. I'm just going back and reading the Bible. That is just, don't get into that kind of thing. The Bible is there to mislead you. And so, but you may be trying to jump levels. You may be trying to understand concepts that you have still got to learn other ones in order to understand these. So there's other ones that lead up to them. Like there's a lot that leads to everything else. So, just start learning about things from where things seem interesting. And, I can, keep saying different places and people and stuff to go and look into. There's going to be a lot of this stuff is going to be about quantum. So you can go look up about quantum, because we're going into this quantum, and in the way that we are going to be able to. So the reason why we're going to be able to do so much stuff is because when you detach from what you believe is reality of being flesh and blood, and you pull free from that, that doesn't restrict you. So you don't have that restriction. You don't think, oh, well, if I do that, I could get cut and bleed. If I do that, this will happen. Because those were all programmed. And so you are programmed in a certain way to believe certain things and think certain ways. And so you will fall back on your programming. But you want to keep splitting away from your programming, knowing that, yeah, you may be on a train, the track, that you have no idea where it's going. It may be completely new. Maybe nobody else is on it. But to know it's going to take you to your destination. And you will have stops along the way that will teach you to help you understand yourself. And so so as the vibration is changing, as the atoms are moving and splitting, and see, this is where we are getting this energetic that is going back and forth between us and the sun. And I'll tell you another thing too, is this is a girl who's out there, and she is, I've talked about her before, but I see so many of these people who are out there telling people and trying to teach things, but it's like they don't even know the stuff that they're teaching. Like they're just teaching it, but they don't. I don't know. Everybody's gonna have their own shit to figure out. But but you have people out there in the spiritual community who are saying there's not gonna be any solar flash. I don't know where they're coming up with solar flash. Well, the Hopi Indians, the Sumerian tablets, the Book of One, like everybody, like there's a lot of, you can go look at other prophets. There's a lot of prophecy It's not just New Agers coming up with this shit. It depends on what your reference material is. You know, if you go out and reference material, like a lot of people just go for the Bible. The Bible's the quick, easy route, you know. But there's other information out there. And so just look into it. And then the QHHT stuff. Like I had said, there are so many people that were going in to get past life regressions, and they all started talking about the solar flash. And that's why Allison Coe went on and started talking about it on her channel, was because all these clients were coming in telling about this solar flash and what was going to happen. And so that's why I said I've been hearing about the solar flash since 2016, I think. And so and that is what really threw me. That's what really got everything. And I was so crazy because I was like, I thought everybody had to prepare then. And so now, as my expanding in my own information and stuff, that's why I'm like, I don't think it's about to go down. I think it is going to be a response, a reverberation to the energy we're sending out. Because like as all these atoms and everything is moving and coming apart, see, the vibration is changing. So everything is coming apart. But like our world is a hologram. So we are birthed into a hologram. And so there's weird things, like I said, it all of a sudden became so grown. And then all of a sudden there'll be like a totally brown tree. Like the neighbors across the street, all of a sudden 2 of their trees went totally brown. And she was outside the other day. I said, oh, you got 2 trees that died. And she goes, yeah, that happens sometimes. And so then I was like, okay, well, maybe this just happens sometimes. But it is just, it's weird. It is like the reality keeps shifting right in front of us. Like it's trying to, you know, like when you're watching something, it has like a glitch in it or something. So it's like our reality is glitching as everything is changing. But in the QHHT things again, then it has, they've said that this, the creation of our new hologram, our new reality is in the process right now. And we are sending out the things that we want. And so that they are creating the hologram as is in the process of its creation. And there's energy out there that is just creates the hologram, like sets the stage and stuff. And so that is being happening. So you have that going on. There's so many different things, and it's on so many different levels, because you have the 3D, you have the spiritual, you have the energetic, like you have these different levels. And if you're just stuck on looking at everything through 3D, like that person, the helicopter person who told me how important it is to wear helmets, because, you know, she knows all about it. And, but in a spiritual perspective, then you know nothing can hurt you that's not supposed to hurt you. And nothing can happen to you unless it's supposed to happen to you. So that is an illusion. That is you know, a fear. So if I do this, I'll protect myself. That's not the protection. The protection is out there. The protection isn't what you do. But that, you know, that's a 3D illusion. That's where you think like you're doing something to protect yourself. And a lot of people are learning. You know, that's the expansion. That's your come to Jesus moment. So they're learning that, you know, well, I can do this and still not going to do anything. But that is, each person has their own experiences that are happening. But so as this vibration is changing and the atoms are separating, we're not going to be pulled together in that same density. And so, I think that is where is like where people say the light bodies and stuff. But like I had said, when I was driving that one day, this was 2 years ago, I think. And I was, you know, just in a conversation about that, you know, and sometimes they'll start one, I think, just to show you. But it was something while I was driving. And while I was driving, then they said it's going to feel just like that. It's not going to feel any different than that. You're not going to know that you are a light body. You're not going to know, because just like when you don't know if you're fat. You don't know if you're tall. You don't know if you're skinny. You don't know if you're ugly. You don't know if you're pretty. You don't know you're anything unless you are by something to compare yourself to. And then that's all based on just opinion. But you don't know yourself from the inside. It's so trippy because that is something that I completely have an understanding about. Of people don't see themselves as other people see them. And it is a part of because how you feel. And so you can feel fat on the inside, but be super skinny on the outside, and nobody's going to acknowledge your fat feeling because you're super skinny. And so the soul does not have the same feeling as the body. If you get what I'm saying, just pay attention and you'll see what I'm saying. Pay attention when people are talking about themselves and how they see themselves and stuff. And that has to do with, like body dysmorphia. We got so much of body dysmorphia, but we're not talking about it. We're talking about it on a different level. We're talking about it on a 3D level. But so when we start changing and speaking about things on like a spiritual level and an energetic level. And so anyways, what they showed me is, it would be just like that. You won't be able to tell that you are different. You're going to feel the same. You're going to all of us, we're going to just like look the same. It's not going to be like where people are going to look see-through. It is going to be, but you're going to be able to see through them because you can see, like I said, as all this stuff in my own expansion, then I started being like, oh my God, you can see through people. Like they can't hide who they are. You can see right through them and they don't know that you can see through them. But I'm not saying you can see through them like an x-ray machine, like you see their guts and their heart and stuff like that. No, you see their soul. You can see their intention. You can see their pain. You can see their suffering. You can see their anger. You can just see things that they can't see. And so that was something that I started realizing. And so it's going to be more like that. That's why there will be no way to hide who you are. You're not going to be able to trick people anymore. You're not going to be able to pretend like you're a good person, but really you're a shitty person. Everybody's going to be transparent because we're leveling up. So we're going to be able to see who people really are. It's not going to be like see through people, like we're going to be glass or something. Things are going to feel like the same kind of experience. Only we're going to understand, just like what I was saying, like people will start to begin to understand when their body falls down to the ground and they're standing there and then they see their body. They're going to be like, oh, I'm still alive. I'm not going now. I could get back in there if I want to, And if it is meant that you're supposed to pass in, like you have an expiration date on these ones, but we're in this time of change. And so we will have some people that will be their thing. I mean, but we've already been having that. We're near-death experiencers where they have died and, they're pronounced dead and then all of a sudden they're up walking around. So that is, that is all stuff that people are going to see. But so if you do, like if you yourself, you fall over, your body dies and you're standing there and you're like, fuck, I wanted to go over and do blah, blah, blah. I don't want to leave yet. I was right in the middle of something. And, you can try and get back in there. Like I would think if you're not supposed to, your guides will come and they'll say, hey, time to go. Let's go talk about this, and they'll pull you off to go review, how you feel. What do you feel like you did in this life? How do you feel about what you did? How do you feel about what you said to that person that day? How do you feel like when you see how it affected them and you went home, they went home and cried for 2 days and then for the rest of their life, that's, your negative stuff affected them. So those things are the things you go through in your life review so you can, see You know, do you think you can do better? And that is the drive, I think, to incarnating. And in our incarnating isn't, you know, going and getting into different bodies. Like I've said, it's the same as like checking out books out of the library. And then your consciousness, you project it into the experience so you can feel the experience, so that you can learn from the experience. And like I said, you got the watchers, the observers, like all these different people who are trying to learn from all the experiences. So anyways, that is, you know, so don't get all caught up in the flesh and blood. It is the pulling free from that concept so that you can understand in that. And then when you can understand, like, that you aren't really flesh and blood, you aren't this really heavy density, that you are atoms that are moving at a speed, then that is where we start being able to change the atoms. We can control them. That is where we can heal ourselves. Like, there's frequencies. The healing is going to be based on frequencies. And so we can heal ourselves. That's why they keep us in this low frequency, because the density, it's hard to heal yourself because they want to make us sick. So it's so crazy, man, when you think about like these beings who got access to all these people, and that they decide that they want to enslave them so that they can just, you know, live their weird life. And then plus that they know, like, they're all like these cannibals and stuff like that. But it's trippy is because they're not taking in flesh and blood, they're taking in energy. And so they are, but in our 3D creation of the story, it is, you know, it's about consumption of these different byproducts of the human body. But really, it is a consumption of the energy. But they aren't consuming the energy of the being. They're consuming the energy that was birthed. So, and that, I think, is why they want to get them while they're so fresh. They're really into the first, you know, right when they come out. And so, you know, I am, these are all like concepts. It's the same thing as like when I was in that fucking chemistry class, where I kept being like, what? This makes no sense. And so it's the same thing as that when you try and really wrap your head around, like, you're a soul. You're birthed into this experience. It's a 3D experience. So you can go in and see, what does it feel like to be married? What does it feel like to kill somebody? What does it feel like to be killed? What does it feel like to have loss? What does it feel like, you know? So we want to experience so we understand. Because the expansion the soul reaches is to reach the point, the pinnacle point of no judgment. So we all want to get to this point that we don't judge. The light is really bright. So we don't judge ourselves or one another. And so that is the expansion. That's the heavens, is where you reach the point of no judgment. But it is an empty space, because there's nothing, there's no judgment, there's nothing. And then judgment gives us something to work on. And so it is kind of like we need judgment, but you can't get caught up in any of the things, because you've got to always be seeing that you got to keep yourself in balance. And so, you know, everything, the more that you can try and let go of the avatar and focus on the driving force inside, and then the stuff will just kind of work itself out as this expansion occurs. You know, it's going to be, but it's the work. It's the work that's the hard part. That's why there's going to be so many souls that are going to leave, because it's fucking hard. It is very hard to face yourself and to face all these things. Like, so, and so many souls have a lot of stuff from a lot of different lives, a lot of things. Like, just look at the horrible things going on around us right now. And there, you got people who have done these things in life after life after life, and then they are not facing themselves. And so they will just pass. And then there's other ones, you don't just think because your family member died, well, that's just a lazy old soul. It doesn't do its work. It can be completely opposite of that. They completely could be there just as a martyr to help you expand. So don't get caught up in thinking that you understand why someone's doing something, because it's so much deeper than what we have any ability to understand. And that is, the more you expand your consciousness, the more you expand your possibilities and your thoughts, the more you can understand. And that's why I say, like, as you're developing into your understanding, it is stages. So if something is like, overwhelming because you don't understand it, just go back a little further. You don't need to jump way up to where it's like, what? This makes no sense. Just go back and go through the steps that lead you up to there. And to me, the steps have been about learning about atoms and frequency, about, I think an important thing is to realize your perspective. Are you looking at things through three-dimensional perspective? Are you looking at things through your spiritual perspective? Are you looking at things through an energetic perspective? So it is, you have all that access to how you choose how you look at things. You choose of how you see things. You choose what's important to you. Everything is a choice. And that's what they talk about. And then when you make your choices, that's your intention. You're setting your intention. And you could be setting your intention to let you know, like, I'm so worthless. I'm just the worst. And nothing goes right for me. And so you start that journey. And the ones that cross your path are ones that will just beat you down and make you feel worse and worse, because they're trying to get you to build yourself up, to see, like, I have more value than this. This sucks, man. I'm not going to, but it's a process. It's not something, and you're not doing it wrong because you didn't get it on the first time. Like, it took me a lot of relationships, a lot of marriages and shit to get to that point. I mean, before that, it just seemed like, that's life, and we're just trying to make our lives better. But it is more than that. It is by your intention, is how you look at it. And then another thing too, it drives me crazy with the people with the manifesting. Everybody with their manifest this, manifest that. This is so three-dimensional. Everybody just jumps on, and you got all these spiritual people teaching you how to make your three-dimensional life that much better. Okay. So anyways, that is for, people to recognize and see this stuff for themselves. And you got to realize that there's a lot of people out there following that they're going to be knocked off of their podium by their it's their ego, and they're going to be knocked down some notches. They're going to be humbled, and it's going to be a humiliation for a lot of people who are really in their ego about what they think they know. And so there's going to be, and I don't know, I could be one of them. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be, but to me, I see people who just woke up, who think they know it all, who haven't even studied any spiritual stuff. So, spiritual has been my focus since I was young. So I don't know. I wouldn't go and just listen to somebody else's journey. To me, it even becomes confusing, because I'll hear somebody and they'll be getting all upset about something. And then I'll think, well, is that right? But it can be going real easy and nonchalant for you, but it's a struggle for them. And then they'll get that in your head. So that's why, I'm not going to go out and listen to all these different people, because they'll put shit in your head. And, I don't need their shit in my head. So, it is, just don't try and rush through, your awakening. I think a lot of people feel like it's pressure, it's awakening, and you got to do this stuff. If you want to ascend, you better hurry up. It's not like that. The most important thing is your expansion, is your enlightenment, is the process, is the stuff that you're doing. That is the most important. And the okay, because the ascension thing, the harvest or whatever, when the solar flash happens, it is you gotta remember, this is energy, this is a frequency. So it's like a, and so the is all these frequency things, like, and the weird thing too with the Schumann resonance today, go look and see if you can find someone showing it. It looks totally different. It looks like a pattern, like it's gone into like some sort of stitch form. Like it's totally different. I don't know what the hell glitchy thing is going on with that. But anyways, I'm losing track. And now my stomach's growling too. Every time my stomach growls, I feel like it's those motherfucking parasites. And I did see somebody saying, some doctor or whatever, saying parasites for the most part are microscopic. And see, that's what I thought. And but you have all these people who are seeing all these worms and shit in the toilet. And this one woman who just did one the other day, and she said she was going to the bathroom, so many worms, she couldn't believe it. She's freaking out. She said, I'm never going to eat meat again, that's for sure. So I don't get it. Like, how are they having whole worm? Like, are you eating raw meat? Like, when you cook the meat, the worm should cook. Like, I don't understand what is going on. Are they putting some sort of eggs in that they know will hatch inside of people? Like, fuck, man. I have no idea what the fucking hell. I saw somebody else who is a big content creator the other day say they went to the bathroom, a tapeworm came out. So fuck, man, I don't know what the hell. I've not seen any worms. The only time I saw anything that I even thought looked like worms, and it was two things that were not living. They were dead. They just seemed kind of like the shape of worms. But that was when I came out of the med beds in Newport last year, when Stella and I spent the night in the energy enhancement beds in Newport. And in the morning when I got up and I went to the bathroom, and these two things came out of me where I was like, this looks like they could be two dead worms. But I don't know. I don't know what else it could have been. But I've definitely not seen my toilet filling up with worms and shit. So, man, I don't fucking know. And so in Texas, there's been all these bad storms. So in Texas, they've got heat cranked, and they've turned off the power on a huge amount of people. I think even at the hospital and stuff. So they're doing the same thing where they're isolating and creating something. So something's going on over there by Texas. And so it could be that's one of the places that is under control. There are all these different places where the military is at, New York and LA, Texas. There's a whole bunch. Like, you can just go look. Like, people are freaking out and doing the videos and showing. I'm sure it's on Facebook, Instagram, and everything, because everybody's freaking out, and the helicopters going over, and then these other weird helicopters with these weird things. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think today has got to be the day where something is going to go down. And I think it's going to be, I think the banks are, I think this has to do with the banks and the government thing. I think it is all going to be going down. Like, whatever's going to go, this is going to be our week of it. And so if they do the martial law, just keep in mind, don't be panicked and scared. Just take your time wisely, just relax. Work on you. Maybe today go to the library, get some spiritual books or something. And spend the time trying to read and expand on something that you find interesting about spiritual stuff. It can be anything, supernatural stuff. It can be alien stuff. It could be ghost stuff. All that stuff is real. Folklore, all that stuff is real. They've told you it wasn't real because they were trying to control your mind. They didn't want you to know there's a supernatural world. You might think you're more special than what you are. And they just want, slaves. They want slaves that just chase fame and jewels. So, because these people do anything for $1. And then to make sure and take away all of their belief in themselves, their loyalty to their own soul, and devalue themselves. Like, I can't believe how women think it's empowerment to show all their body. Like, I saw a video the other day that is just like, what has happened to women? Like, what in the holy hell? You really think just going out there, like, what are you trying to draw into you? And this one was a girl. So the video is just like the camera is the camera is here. Like, if my face was her ass. And so she's laying over here. And so she's turning around looking. Gotta get that porn look. Like, turn back and look. And so it's just her butt. But it's spread all the way so that you can completely see all the workings that go on down there between the legs. And then I think she has these white, tight, really tight pants on. But so what she's showing, because it's a yoga move or something, is she's showing how she can control her vaginal muscles or something. So she's opening and closing, opening and closing, open. The video of that. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot more men now, though, speaking out about, like, man, women, why are you putting on all this makeup? And why do you keep showing your body? Leave some stuff to mystery, you know? And that's what I said a long while ago. I said, these girls are going out doing this stuff. They think guys like it. They don't. A guy looks at you. I've been in a million conversations. The guys look at him like, yeah, well, I'll have sex with you, but that's about it. They don't look at you like, oh, man, yeah, she's really good with those vagina muscles. That's the mother of my kids right there. No, they think that that's what you would be doing, that you're very, they couldn't trust you. You'd be wanting to do it with everybody, all their friends and shit. That's what they look at when you're out there just throwing it out there and showing everybody. They think that, why would they want to have a wife that's doing that? And so many girls keep doing that. Yeah, but it is, their own moral compass. They got to go in and see their own value, set your moral compass and, higher value. And so, anyways, hopefully that makes sense of the stuff, but it has to do with atoms and stuff. And when the vibration changes, we're not really here, but we feel we're here. So it is our sense of consciousness. It is in the experience that feels it's here. And so even when these things change, you're going to still feel you're here and you're going to still see yourself. And we'll see ourselves as solid, I think. We're not going to see ourselves as see-through. We're going to see ourselves as solid, but it's going to be our view of how we see is going to be, man, it's hard to explain, but all the stuff is based on atoms and frequency, and everything is changing. And so, our body is not, I just hear these people say it's our body, our DNA is coming on and we're turning back into crystalline. We're not turning back into something. We're taking away our concept of being 3D, being flesh and blood. We're just realizing that's not real. That's a concept. That's not a real thing. And then when you realize that's not a real thing, then you start to be able to control more of your experience. So it's all part of the ascension, the expansion, and but it's like the people all have to see for themselves, and you have to feel it too. But then your DNA is you. Your DNA is your imprint. Your DNA is your essence. It's like your DNA goes with you. Like your DNA, like when you have that brain up there that I said in that movie was the essence and the being. So it's like your DNA is your essence of who you are. The DNA is like all of your different things of who you are is all carried in that structure. So it isn't the structure. It is like when you're not paying attention to this, then you start paying attention to this. Remember I said reality is what you're paying attention to. So then when you start paying attention to this, your DNA on this other level, then it is remembering. It's there. You just aren't remembering. You're not looking at it. You're not attached to it. You're just focused on the 3D life and getting to work and what you're going to make for dinner and all that stuff. But when you step out of that role and you start thinking about the other, the man, I feel kind of like I'm just hopefully it makes sense. I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating the same thing and keep trying to say it. If it isn't making sense, like I said, go in and ask your guides to give you clarity, to give you things to help you understand, because it is, we're no more real now than we will be. It is just you realizing you're not, is all that it is. And your DNA is there, it's alive, but you have to remember, you have to give it its focus. And then when it is coming to life, and then you start seeing you're all these different things, and your DNA is a part of your representation of who you are, but it isn't that your DNA is going to change and become so that you're no longer flesh and blood, now you're crystalline. It is, you were never flesh and blood. You were always just an illusion. And that when you start changing your focus and realizing that, it changes your approach to life, to you, to your expansion. So it's just this, it's kind of like a relieving yourself from realizing like you're not flesh and blood. You're so much more. But you feel like you're flesh and blood. So you're going to continue to feel like the same. Except for, I think, the thing that is going to be different is we're not going to have pain. And when you think about like pain and stuff, pain is holding you into the experience. And different pains can be coming from your DNA from different lives that you need to heal. But the pain and stuff in our bodies too, see, and they're attacking with the frequency. But I think that's the difference of when we move into this higher state of consciousness, this higher frequency, we're not going to have all that pain. And plus we're going to have the med beds and stuff, and we're going to heal. But that is where I think a lot of people are going to be, it's going to feel different because you're not going to feel pain. So that part, like the crystalline part of yourself, this part that doesn't feel pain like that. So anyways, I can try and figure out how to explain it more. If that doesn't make any sense, just tell me. But go and look up different things. Like I'm telling you, Gaia channel, I haven't even looked on that for a long while. I think it's like $10 a month, and you can go through Prime. But if you have internet and stuff, or if you have like Dish or cable or whatever, Gaia channel should be on there. And so there's tons and tons of shows on there. Supernatural, metaphysical, all sorts of things on there you can go on and learn. And I think for me, they just bring stuff to me to teach me. So I think yours will start doing that. So if you show interest in something, like you're really stuck on like, I don't understand. How am I not flesh and blood? We're flesh and blood. How am I not? People get buried. People have surgeries. How? This doesn't make any sense. Well, because we are told something, so we believe it. So therefore we make it happen. We make it, we see it. That doesn't mean it's real. We just create it. So we think, oh, well, I'm going to get surgery, so I'm going to be cut into. And that is why I was like, oh, man, we don't want to go and look into the AMP books because that's not even fucking real. Like, I started thinking, like, how, I mean, fuck, I mean, everything inside of us they tell us things, and then we believe it. And so then that is what we show because we believe what we're told. So anyways, it is so much about expansion of your own mind, your own cellular observation of experience of life. And so anyways, just look into more things like reincarnation. To me, there's so much information about that. There's so much stuff on NDEs, and those kinds of books can really help you. And like I said, I started with the Shirley MacLaine back in there. And, I think there's a lot of good old school stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, Dolores Cannon has got, she's got like 15 books. You got so much information there to read about that can help you. And it is to give you reference. And when you have reference, they can communicate and they can help you understand. But there's a development in your reference material. So if you're trying to understand who and more of what you are, be telling your guides, asking them, tell them to show you, help you understand, and, just communicate with them what you want, what you're trying to understand, and then be open when they're bringing you stuff, and always give gratitude. If you're going to just always be an ego and, oh, I'm so smart and I'm so this and I'm so that, and not acknowledging their, I think they'll just go radio silence on you because you're not paying any attention. You're not noticing that they're there giving you what you want. So anyways, just start noticing life is not what we thought it was. It's very different. And, expand your thought process, expand your mind, open up all of the frames, open everything out so that you can, receive and expand. So anyways, I'll talk to you later.